Hey, before we start, just a small warning. What you're about to hear isn't fiction. These are real stories, pulled straight from Reddit, posted by people who had no reason to lie and no way to explain what happened to them. All of these incidents take place in New York, a city that never sleeps, but maybe some things there never should have woken up. So turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and listen carefully, because some of these stories might sound a little too real. And if you hear something behind you, don't turn around. Story of drugs. My first experience in NYC. I moved into a roommate situation with a woman who I thought was an actress, waitressing part-time. Finding all these little brown bottles around the apartment and bags along with many make guests. She tried to scam me on the bills, charging me half of bills she had not paid in months. Luckily, a friend from college who grew up in the city came by to check out the situation and was, OMFG, your roommate is a drug addict. You need to move out. I was so naive and completely clueless about drugs. Plus, I think she was a prostitute looking back at the red flags. I had no idea. Story creepy New Yorker. I saw a mother do this with a pacifier her infant dropped on the subway floor. She just popped it right back in her baby's mouth. My husband and I looked at Earth other horrified. The weirdest thing I saw was on Fifth Avenue by Rockefeller Center. An immaculately dressed man in his early 60s purposefully bumped hard into another immaculately dressed man in his early 70s. The older man fell and people flocked around to help him, while the younger man sauntered off. I always wondered what the story was. Story asylum of city. Back in the early to mid 2000s, I was an unsupervised, feral gutter teen. I used to chill out on my stoop on 55th Street in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, until the crack of dawn. One night, around 3 a.m., I saw a guy running up the block. He was sweating, panting, and had a genuine look of fear and concern on his face. He paid no mind to me and my friends. I noticed that he was holding one of those old school blue coffee cups, the ones with the Greco-style columns on them. At one point, he just placed the cup in the middle of the street and looked back. He did this as though someone was following him. He then proceeded to book it across 3rd Avenue. He ran off into the night, and we never saw him again. My friends and I, confused at what just happened, got up and started to look at the cup. We were waiting to see if someone else was going to show up. No one came after a few moments. We just figured that maybe the guy was on drugs or something. As we went back to sit down, the cup fell over. Out of it crawled a praying mantis. It then just flew over. I DK what the fuck was going on. But I think about that situation from time to time. It was one of many strange experiences I've had in this asylum of a city. Story jacking train. Two completely separate, unrelated guys in the same train car jerking off. Riding the F train home one night, my friend said to me, "Look at this old perv jerking off." I looked up and I said, "He's not that old." "What are you talking about?" She said he's at least 70. I said he's not even 30. One guy jerking off is normal, but two different guys jerking off on the train at the same time. Nah, and the young one didn't even put his junk away when he got off the train. He just held a newspaper in front of himself. Was in Brighton Beach one night on Ocean View. It was probably around 1 in the morning. A guy pulls over on the next corner, gets out, starts screaming some shit none of us can understand, and then shoots at us. Never saw this guy before and never saw him again. In front of the Barnes and Noble on Broadway, US woman's walking on the street looks fairly normal. She walks over, leans up against an SUV that was parked in front, slides down to the floor, takes her underwear off, drops a deuce, stands back up, and then wipes her ass, story-winged rat. I was sitting on a bench in Union Square when as a fluttering and a pigeon flew over my shoulder onto the ground. It pecked about oddly for a minute, seemed to get its beak stuck, pulled it loose, flopped around for a bit, then keeled over. The woman on the other bench looked at me and we were like, did that thing just fucking die? Then a parks worker scooped it up and dumped it in a bin. R.I.P. winged rat, story the back. This hunchback guy I spotted from behind by Columbus Circle who was limping. And then when he turned around, his cock was exposed and spraying urine everywhere. LOL, story the regular. Gotta be honest, none of this sounds strange. It's just NY. The amount of times I've seen guys jerking off, shit-stained people passed out or actively shitting weird pigeon stuff. It's just par for course. I did chest compressions while waiting for an ambulance on a junkie who OD'd years ago on Avenue A by Tompkins Square Park and went about my day. Not exactly expected, but also not normal. Story the wave. The other day I saw a person fully nude standing in the middle of the sidewalk, taking a shit while standing fully upright. A wave of sadness washed over me as I realized I wasn't even fazed in the least, but annoyed that it was on my side of the sidewalk. A deep sadness that I could never again experience. For the first time, the thrill and disgust of seeing someone pull off that incredible feat. It is just another normal part of life.